Pro-Trump lawyer Sidney Powell keeps coming up with brand new conspiracies. Even after documents showing that the Trump team knew the big lie was just that, a lie, Powell is now alleging that a Georgia man was murdered as part of a scheme to stop Brian Kemp from conducting an audit of the Georgia votes. Here she is expanding on that on Andrew Womack's podcast. Womack, of course, being a very controversial right-wing, of course, pastor who's into conspiracies. Let's take a look.
I think what we are dealing with here is pervasive and very, very dark. It's organized, it's well-funded, it's pure evil. They are willing to kill people, a la Kelly Loeffler's aide in Georgia, who was suddenly blown up in his car on the way to a rally for her. He happened to be dating Governor Kemp's daughter. Governor Kemp was considering, I think, at that point, a signature audit. And then the Georgia Bureau of Investigation agent who was investigating that, he was the lead investigator, was suddenly dead within a week. And suddenly we don't hear anything else about any of that. We are talking about trillions of dollars of global wealth at issue here. The leadership and control of the most powerful country on the face of the earth.
So wait, okay, hold on here. Okay, so now this is part of a international conspiracy that involves China, Venezuela, communism, globalism, George Soros, of course, all working for Biden to, to get Biden elected in order to foist upon us global communism or something. Now, again, if you look at the whole of the things that she has said, it's a communist plot, there's communist money. So communist money, mother countries, and trillions of dollars worth of what? None of it makes sense. For one thing, if you think that Joe Biden is a communist, you need your head examined. You have no sense of reality. Yeah, you're right. You're right. There's a ton of crazy to unpack here. But if you believe in any of this, you need your head examined. Here's the thing. You know what the real conspiracy is? It is to lie about an election in order to get chuds to hand over their money. And that's what that is. Real simple. Real simple. That's what's going on here. Look, either she is lying or she actually really believes this. And in that case, there's something mentally wrong with her. But either she's lying, Giuliani is lying, Lynn Wood is lying, Trump is lying. And maybe they're lying because they want your money. I mean, that's a real simple, real simple conspiracy, right? But it would actually happen to be true because they're running a scam is what they're doing. They know the truth. The Trump team had the truth already. And they refused to release the memo, knowing that, yeah, we did the research on it. Turns out, yeah, y'all are full of crap. Or I should say, we're all full of crap. And I think that if we're going to go the route of calling them grifters, which is very, 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 very possible, right? What they're doing then, since they do know the truth, is that they're relying on the poorly informed or uninformed, as well as, of course, the real distrust in media and government, because there is a distrust. And those people who do a lot of this distrust or have a lot of this distrust tend to believe more in conspiracy theories because of it. And so, again, if they do believe this stuff, then they fooled themselves, and they're going to see some consequences. But if not, I mean, I just don't see the long-term gains to be had here. Giuliani has already lost his ability to practice law in New York. He's about to go broke, which is why he's hustling on Cameo. And of course, you have these defamation lawsuits against Mike Pillow, Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, et cetera, et cetera. So I just don't see where the real profit is in this long term. It doesn't make sense to me. So maybe it's like, maybe they actually do believe this stuff. And in that case, we have a lot of, like, we've got a real, mental illness problem among Trump supporters. And that's not to, of course, try to, be ableist or make fun of people with mental disabilities, but these people have something wrong with them if they actually do believe this, if they've tricked themselves into believing this nonsense. And that's the problem here. So now, let me go to the facts. No one was murdered over an audit. That didn't actually happen. The story that she told about Loeffler's aide being blown up in their car, not true at all. So I did a little research into this. The man, the staffer, was named Harrison Deal. And he actually died in a 3-vehicle crash on I-16, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So that was a car crash. It was a car accident. Car accidents happen to, they happen a lot, unfortunately, fairly often. And yet he's saying this is a car bomb. So this is really reminiscent of some of the other conspiracies about people's deaths. Seth Rich comes to mind, right? Oh, Seth Rich is murdered. He's murdered. He's murdered. Well, okay. The conspiracy is murdered by Hillary Clinton. Insanity, no proof. No proof. Robbery gone wrong. Okay, and as a pretty low-level staffer in the DNC, why would he have the information that you think that he had, or whatever? Again, it doesn't make any sense, and it goes just wild speculation. Wild speculation. And that's the thing. You want to ask where they come up with this stuff. Generally, they pull it out of their ass. And the thing about conspiracies is that they're pretty easy to make up. And either the person is making it up on purpose because, oh, hey, you know what? This is pretty easy. I'm going to spread this disinformation. And somehow that's going to either make me famous or make me profit, or I'm going to get followers, I'm going to get clicks, I'm going to get views. If you're somebody on YouTube, for example, that deals in a lot of conspiracy theories, like many do on the right. Or the other thing is, maybe they think, no, I believe this, and I'm a genius because I'm the only person that figured it out. And of course, as I mentioned before, every conspiracy starts with a little tiny kernel of truth. Something in there that, okay, that's a factual point, but then they go and connect things that don't necessarily have any connections at all. But they go, look at that. See, I draw a line here. You're in. I create this weird thing. And it comes out to be a Star of David. Who would have thought? No, you drew that yourself. You're drawing all these conclusions from things that are not necessarily related. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And they say, well, so don't you see it? Don't you see it? No, I don't see it. Because I'm not insane. But the thing is, for the former, conspiracies make you feel like you are smarter than everyone else. Oh, see, I know the actual truth. Yeah. I know the real truth. I've been looking into it. You're all sheep. You're following the establishment line. That's what you're doing. Yeah, you're following the CNN's Stelter. Whereas I got the actual truth. I'm the only one that's telling you the truth. The government's going to come after you. They're going to inject your salad dressing full of COVID vaccines. Then you're going to lose your testosterone. Yeah, your balls are going to swell up. They're going to fall off. Yeah, that's what's going on here. Yeah, see, I know the truth. I know the real one. No. And by the way, for the Alex Jones of the world, again, conspiracies present a financial opportunity to exploit people in a very easy and substantial way because people are so distrustful of institutions. Because there are legitimate problems with some of our institutions, by the way. And I'm not saying that, like, the news media never gets it wrong. Of course they do get it wrong. That science never makes a mistake. The whole process of science is you make a mistake, okay, you tested that, and it didn't work. So then you move on to something else, okay? And you move on and you shape your hypotheses and you do testing and observation And that's the scientific method. That's how that works. And sometimes you're going to arrive at a wrong answer, but that's kind of the point, because you eliminate that answer. You eliminate the wrong ones, and eventually you end up with the right answer. That's how this stuff works. And people have a misunderstanding of how these things actually work. And also, they don't understand that, yes, these institutions, guess what? They're filled with people, and people do make mistakes. But generally, we have systems in place that will double check and go and correct those mistakes. That's what the reality is. It's not some grand conspiracy that you have found, that you have pointed out. Generally, I'm not saying there isn't conspiracies. I'm not saying that things that are considered to be conspiracies haven't been, in some cases, true. But generally, the ones that are true tend to be very simple. Not these weirdo, grandiose, everyone's in on it kind of things, like, oh, climate change, everybody's into it. All the governments in the world are in on it. Oh yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, we're gonna make sure that we get shoved in. People get shoved into hobbit homes. Yeah, no, makes no sense. You're speaking nonsense. And part of that, by the way, is fear. Conspiracies happen to run on fear. That's a major part of what makes these so, I think, attractive to certain people, because of that fear element. And like, oh my God, what if this is true? Part of it also, I mean, for QAnon, for example, some parts of QAnon, there is an actual, like, some people get sucked into it, like, you know, soccer moms, you know, that are like middle class, suburban soccer moms getting sucked into this insanity. Because first it's, well, of course I care about children. I don't want children to get hurt. Oh my God, there's sex trafficking. There's sex trafficking of minors. Oh my God, I got to do something about it. And then they get sucked into a hole where suddenly you believe that Donald Trump is an agent of, you know, God, and Joe Biden is the, you know, or whatever the Democrats are in a satanic pedophile cabal. That's how it happens. And unfortunately, we are living at a time where there is a lot of uncertainty. And of course, we have a news media that has a big fixation on, you know, on showing negative stories, because those get the clicks and people pay attention, because we're only human, and advertising, you know, dollars are on the line. So of course, if it bleeds, it leads, and that leads people to think that we live in incredibly uncertain and just horrific, scary times. When yes, there are negative things, there are bad things that happen all over the country and all over the world, but generally we actually tend to live in the safest time period that I think we've ever had before in human history. And yet these conspiracy theories are on the rise and continue to permeate social media spaces like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So again, you just have to be, if you want to create a conspiracy, you just got to be creative and have absolutely no qualms about lying to people if you're doing it for a grift and taking advantage of them. And if you actually do believe this stuff, well, you are the one being taken advantage of. And so I'm not entirely sure what box Sidney Powell belongs in. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter at this point, because wittingly or not, sure, she is actually doing real harm to democracy by spreading these unhinged lies. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.